Hey, what's up, guys? All right, y'all. Welcome back to the OS Rick Project, episode 71. Guys, summer is officially over. We are now in autumn. But of course, if you live in Texas, Texas is thinking, yeah, that's cute. Hold my beer. It is still hot outside, guys. All right, y'all. Welcome to the show. I hope everything is doing, I hope you guys are doing well. Everything's good on y'all's end. How are y'all? What have y'all been up to? What are y'all playing? What have y'all been watching? Um, Nice. Again, welcome to the show. Let's see. Let's talk about it, guys. What's been going on? What have I been doing? What have I been playing? What have I been watching? I've been watching Ahsoka. Caught up on the last two episodes. Been watching it with the wifey, so it's it's not a bad show. It's okay. It's no issues. I mean, at this point, I kind of know what I'm getting myself into when it comes to Disney and Star Wars. So, and look, guys, when it comes to Star Wars, I'm a normie. I like episodes 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 7, 8, 9, or whatever. Let's see, Street Fighter 6. Been on that. Been on the grind, trying to go through the whole diamond rank. It's been a struggle. It's been a grind, guys. And trying to get good at things. I mean, I'm at the point now where I have to start optimizing. Have to be way better and just executing on everything I do, and just be more aware and changing my game style. I'm using the drive rush to skip the neutral, and I become very predictable. I need to change that up. And of course, I still been sticking with Guile. I just feel like Guile is in a really, I feel like he's in a really good spot. I'm playing him in an unorthodox way where you usually want to play him as more of a patient zony in the range, but I'm playing him very aggressive, and I like it. It's real fun. But we'll see how it is. I know we have Aki coming out sometime next week, coming on Wednesday. But we'll talk about more of that on the Capcom side of things. And then just the matches in general have been pretty pleasant. I mean, I get matches just coming up right after another after I get started playing. So that's been really good. But yeah, just gonna need to work more and practice and practice and practice. It's a grind because if I take a couple of days off, a week off or something to play something else, and then I come back, especially at the rank where I'm at, where if you're not on top of it, you will get punished. And yeah, it has its benefit. It makes me a better player, but at the same time, it's like sometimes it's just like I really get to be on top of it. But also with Diamond, they're pretty generous. Every time you lose, you just lose a flat 40 points, but every time you win, you're getting like 50 something points, 55. And if they're higher rank, you get a little bit more. So I mean, it's not hard, it's not difficult, and at the end of the day, it's just league points. They matter nothing. I do come across several people who just want to do the one and done, and at this point, I just kind of have to accept the game for what it is. It's going to be a part of it. People are like that. I mean, I was like that at 1.2, where I coveted these ones and zeros, these imaginary points that mean nothing. But everybody's gonna have to come to grips with that. So Armored Core 6, Street Fighter 6, Armored Core 6, I did finish my third playthrough, and man, what a great game. I had such a good time with it. Now the only thing I need to do, what that I want to do, is just kind of like maybe go back and do like get some S rank on some missions and stuff like that. Maybe go find some items that I got missed. Maybe use some guides to find the hidden chests, hidden items that are scattered around the missions. But yeah, the last boss, he was a challenge. Is it a he, she, it? I don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but it was a challenge. It was unexpected. I did kind of go new. I did go into it knowing who the last boss is, and that's only because I watched a lore video spoiling it, and I did not expect that. So I gotta go back and finish that video because I put on pause after I realized it because I didn't want to spoil anything else. So I gotta go back, finish that, and man, I had really such a really good time with that game. And I understand, everybody has their opinion when it comes to that game. And I hear some game journalists, I like to use that term loosely, or video game influencers, YouTube, whatever. You know who they are, guys. Where they talk about it and they just kind of really critique the game. And again, That's your opinion. There totally are, but it just really feels like they didn't give the game the fair shake. It feels really ingenuous. Well, they'll say something like, "Oh, the area just looks really bland. It's very boring. You know, they need to work on the engine to make it better." And all the meanwhile, when I'm playing it, I mean, yes, the graphics and the visuals are important, but it boils down to how fun the game is. And even then, visually, I thought some of the backgrounds look wonderful in the back. When you look at some of the skylines and the horizons, and the distance, how everything looks, and of course, it's not like the open world games where you go to that location, or like it's not even like previous FromSoft games like Elden Ring where you see something, you actually walk out there. No, of course not, because you're kind of zoned into the areas on the mission. But the flash of the moves, the particles from the lasers and the sparks and the destruction. I thought visually this game was in a really good spot. For me, it's up there for possible contender of the game of the year right now. Honestly, guys, I haven't played as many games as some of y'all have. But if you were to ask me what some of my games from this year that I would put up there, I'd say Resident Evil 4, Street Fighter 6, Armored Core 6. Those games right there, man, I've been having such a really good time, very memorable time with it. Final Fantasy 16 was a good one also. Before I go to other games I've been playing, because I did go back through my backlog a little, just very little bit. Saturday night I had some time to just play and chill, relax. So I did visit some games that I attempted earlier this year. But sticking with Armored Core 6, getting that third ending, and when's the last time you had a game where you had to play it 3 times to get the final ending? And man, I really wish, if you guys have access to the game to play it, or interested in any way, I would highly recommend it. It's so much fun. I enjoyed it very much. The customization, the way you get to build things, see things, try different strategies, and that's what happened with the game. I started playing with different builds, and I was like, okay, this might work. And then of course you come across a boss that says, no, that's not gonna work. So I tried my other build, my go-to build. Okay, that wasn't working. I tried a variation of it. That wasn't working. I was like, okay, you know what? Let's get Dark Arms in here. And Dark Arms is my medium-sized reverse jointed AC with Gatling guns, a Songbird, of course, and some missiles. And even then, it took me a while to get it. I had to do different strategies, different approaches. There would be some times, guys, where the first 10 seconds of the match, if that goes wrong, stop, restart the mission, let's try it again. I mean, I had to make sure I got into it through phases 1 and 2 in a very good spot, just to hope that in phase 3 I could clutch it out. And eventually, like I believe it was almost 2 hours, I was able to get it. Just under 2 hours, I was able to get it. And we got the third ending. I was able to watch it, enjoy it. And true to FromSoft fashion, I was kind of left with, ooh, okay, this is very ambiguous. I don't know if this is a good ending, a bad ending, or what. And even then, the whole good ending, bad ending, like what does that mean? Good for who, bad for who? Like who decides what's a good ending or bad ending, right? So when it comes to stuff like that, putting under those labels, I just kind of like, okay, I guess that's for the owner for the person who's experienced it to decide whether it was good or bad. But of course, after finishing it, I was like, okay, I saw some things, so let me watch a lore video to help break it down and get different perspectives. And that's one thing, guys. I know I've said this a million times, and I'm sorry for saying it, but being a fan of FromSoft, their story is, you could find it by reading, the flavor text on different pieces of the gear and armor and data logs and everything, depending on what game it is, right? And it puts it all out there, but you have to go find it and piece it together. And that's like one of the things I do love about it is just that the whole community from FromSoft. Anything when you try to put "from" in front of FromSoft just sounds weird. FromSoft. Excuse me. You always, the community FromSoft is just really awesome, and it really comes through because you get so many takes on what the angle of a story is or what it means or trying to explain it. And there's some big names out there. You know, I have a few that I personally enjoy watching and breaking down the lore videos, but you know, now I get to go through that. I get to go watch some lore videos for Armored Core 6 and to break it down and see what all these what you know, what it is to be Rubicon, what is it to be an you know, to be a AC pilot, what it means to, you know, be here and survive and all that stuff. And I'm looking forward to it. And that's something I do like about these games, that they don't spoon feed you the story. It's out there, but you got to really find it. And even then, it leaves it for interpretation and makes it ambiguous. It's never just, all right, put it on a big, pretty bow and fly off and ride into the sunset, right? It's never like that when it comes from Sunsoft. What else did I've been playing, guys? I did a couple matches on, not matches, but I did gone a couple of hunts on Monster Hunter. It's kind of like riding an old bike. You might be a little rusty, but once you get into the groove, you start falling, you know, you start memorizing where to go, what to do. And it was fun. I had a blast. I did a couple of hunts by myself, and I had a good time until I came across Magnamalo. And he just said, nah, it's not going to happen, player. We're stopping right here. Okay. I was like, okay. All right. So after I got my ass whooped by Magnamalo, I was like, all right, let's see. Let's bounce around to another game. And I realized, oh, you know what? Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Let's give that one a shot, right? Because I think recently saw a thumbnail from Digital Foundry, and I think it was titled, you know, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Where is it now? Is it good, bad? You know, after a couple of updates. And I played it, guys, and I still think it's still in a rough spot. Even just starting the game, even after the update, starting the game, having to compile all, I mean, a ridiculously long time to compile the shaders. And I'm using, I'm playing it on my AMD computer, which is basically has a Ryzen 5 7600 CPU processor and a 6900 XT graphics card. So it can handle pretty much everything, you know, that you spit at it, minus, you know, the ray tracing. The ray tracing, it kind of puts it to work. But other than that, though, it handles everything. And I played 1080p, which I want to upgrade to 1440 pretty soon, guys. But we'll talk about that more in a little bit in a later time. But playing the game, it just using the FSR, and I think that's something else, guys. I want to go on a quick tangent about when so the NVIDIA and AMD, they like to sell, it feels like NVIDIA already kind of sold the whole ray tracing to make it fancy, make it nice. Like, yeah, it's cool, but do you need that? Not really. You know, it's something proprietary that really shines from the NVIDIA side of GPUs. And I think they were able to make it successful to market it and make people want to desire that. I think what they're working on now is the whole DLSS, deep learning super sampling, using the AI to generate extra frames. And same on the AMD side where they're using FSR. So especially from what I've noticed on the NVIDIA side is that they'll say, oh, we could do all this stuff. You know, these 40 series are better than the previous ones and our competitors because, you know, with DLSS, you get more frames. But that's just, you're having to use AI to make up frames. I don't know. I value it at the raw power of how much these cards actually have. I think people are getting into the mindset of thinking, oh, I need to have FSR or I need to have DLSS. I don't think that's the way you should value, at least in my opinion. I don't think that's where you should put the value in when it comes to GPU. It should all be about the raw power, and then anything extra will be nice and just in case. And the other thing we need to clarify also is 2023. We've seen it. I've said this 100 times already, and I'm sure you guys have experienced it also, but playing these games, a lot of these developers are coming out with these games not optimized when it comes to the PC, and having to rely on these technologies from the GPU manufacturers to help make up for the shortcomings of their games. And I think this is something that the game industry needs to start realizing that is not going to, it shouldn't be flying. I mean, these developers need to know what's going on. A lot of times I feel like, and I'm sure there's a lot of moving parts going on here, but I'm not here, you know, to I mean, we gotta put the developers to accountability, right? Whether it's the actual developers or the shareholders or whoever's in lead or the managing of these teams, because these games shouldn't have to be relying on these technologies to make the game actually playable. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen that interview where they asked Todd Howard why the game isn't optimized, and he says, "Yeah, it is optimized. Maybe people need to upgrade their PCs." And fair enough. Yeah, you can't expect to have an old, 10-year-old GPU and running everything on max. You're gonna have to like curb your expectations when it comes to playing the game. But at the same time, it should at least be able to run and play right for these people. So I feel like, these GPUs having to rely on this stuff and marketing, and as using frame generation, I think they're focusing on the wrong thing, guys. But anyways, going back to Star Wars Jedi Survivor, I've tried playing it, and man, I think it was such a long time since I played it that I forgot how to execute the moves, how to attack, how to dodge, how to use my special abilities. Which is unfortunate because I really don't want to go back to the beginning of the game, but I do kind of want to finish at the same time. So I'm thinking I might just might just have to pick up the game and maybe stumble around for a bit until I get my bearings straight, or maybe like reset all my talents and just get some basic features and then start building it from there to get better. But I do want to finish that game, but I do feel like it's just way too... It feels like I'm watching a movie. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a game. It feels just very cinematic, very scripted and everything. I don't know. I did enjoy the first one. It was fun and cool, but I don't know, the second one, I think I'm more turned off by the performance of it. Everything that they added just felt just... Oh, now Cal has a grappling hook. Okay. Now I have to parkour and then use a grappling hook to get to the next area. And you got new stances. That's kind of cool. Having new stances, using a dual wielding lightsabers, or the two-sided lightsaber, or the lightsaber and gun. I don't understand the lightsaber claymore. That one was weird. Like, why is that heavy? It's a light. I don't know. It's a lightsaber. I don't know, but. Yeah, I've been playing that, guys, recently. So we'll see. I do want to jump into Blasphemous 2, Part 2, pretty soon. I know it's already came out it came out when Armored Core 6 came out, and the physical edition just came out for the Nintendo Switch. So I plan on picking up a copy soon and maybe stream it. We'll see. But I'm kind of hesitant on it. I'm not rushing to buy that. I mean, there's still lots of things I can play, and mostly because Street Fighter just been taking a lot of times. But we'll see. We'll find some things. I also kind of want to revisit Final Fantasy VII Remake. I saw some stuff from the TGS event that happened for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and man, I kind of want to play that game again just to get ready for it. But I think I might just wait until January and play that one. That way I just go right into the sequel, but we'll see. Anyways, guys, I want to go maybe not so much into video games, but I wanted to talk about, since I was watching Ahsoka, I started thinking about Disney Plus, and I remember seeing that, I think I saw somewhere that Disney will be increasing the prices on Disney Plus. So, and it got me thinking, right? Are they increasing the prices because everything's just getting more expensive, or are they just getting more just the corporate greed? I was like, well, if you were to ask me, I think it's just corporate greed. I think they just want more money. I think a lot of the corporations now, that's how everything is, right? I mean, you've seen it. I'm sure you guys have seen it everywhere. Where this summer here in the U.S., we had a lot of strikes. Right now, we have the UAW, the United Auto Workers, getting together, striking for the big three. We seen it with my company, UPS. The Teamsters going on strike. We seen it with the writers in Hollywood going on strike. We seen it, with some Amazon workers trying to form unions. We seen it with Starbucks workers forming unions, And it's a shame when you hear these people saying, you know, you just got to fire them. And I'm not trying to say like I'm super pro union. It has its places to protect the people. And because a lot of times I had the mindset of unions are just like politicians, like anybody else. They just want people in them so they can get the money to line their pockets, and that's it. And you know, if they're gonna look after the people, all they do is like give them concessions and just work with the corporations or whatever bare minimum. But it wasn't until recently where I started to started to notice that some of these units, especially me being in one and getting the benefits and actually standing up for themselves and getting the workers what they actually deserve. But so it got me thinking about what's going on with whole Disney and everything, and how these big corporations just are more greedy because they rather either share more of their sell more of their shares to just juice up the price of their what you call it for the stock for their shareholders, or spend use that money to give the CEOs and bigwigs raises instead of taking care of the workers. But with Disney, I feel like that's what's going on. I feel like they're probably just increasing the prices just to get more of their stuff, not because they want to like take care of their people, the writers and the people that actually do the physical work with it. But I think I did some digging around, guys, and of course they're increasing their prices, and it's very weird because they have some stuff. I know I'm going on a tangent here, guys, and this is not really my strong suit, but I just want to bring it to something for you guys to think about, right? Because I know a lot of people think, well, Disney, I just want to watch movies and Star Wars, and that's it. I don't care much about it. But there's a reason why they're increasing their prices, right, guys? I mean, they also have, they have ABC and ESPN, and they have a lot of stuff that goes over to Charter, which is the old way, the old cable TV, which it's a dying medium, guys. It's a dying media, I should say. I doubt anybody has cable TV more. The future now is just having streaming, but of course, and which is a benefit, right? Because when you streaming, you get to pay what you want to pay and get exactly what you want. But of course, if you want something else, now you got to sign up for this. Well, you want to watch this? Well, you got to sign up for that. You got to sign up for this. And I heard some people say, well, you know what? I have me and a couple of friends, and we all kind of like share our codes. And you know what? That's a very clever way of approaching things. That's a clever way of approaching it. That way everybody pitches in and shares whatever. But we've seen it where how Netflix has already talked about, I think they already are working on that now, where they're cracking down where, oh, you have someone that watches it that is outside your household. Well, we're going to increase the premium. I mean, and you got to think about it this way, guys. You don't believe that the other corporations are looking at it and are thinking, yo, Netflix is doing this and they're getting away with it and it's working. Yo, we're gonna jump on that too, because it's gonna happen, guys. It's gonna follow suit. They just need one instance where it is successful, and they will do it. So yeah, Disney increasing their prices. I think it's from a lot of stuff where they still want their cable TV stuff, but that's dying. So you have to get revenue in to pay for their stuff. But even then, they're not making money from Disney Plus. I mean, I think I'm just looking around, and when I do research, guys, I'm use that term very loosely, right? I'm just watching TV and looking for stuff to write about. I'm just kind of Googling things and researching and cross-referencing and looking things up. Disney Plus losing 4 million subs in Q2 of 2023. It turns out a lot of their stuff was, they're very big in India. And that's where most of their losses were, is because they lost rights to the Premier League of cricket matches. I know. I didn't expect that one. And you start thinking about like India, you're right. There is a lot of people there. There's a lot of people there. And it got me thinking about that too, right? You know how like ABC or Disney and a lot of big corporations want to like trying to get just a percentage of the Chinese market. Do you think that's going to start happening in India, where they're going to start having, I mean, I don't think basketball is big in India as it is like in China. But in just case, obviously it's not, right? Because with cricket, the cricket is the go-to, apparently the big time sport over there. But let's just imagine, other corporations wanting to get piece of the Indian pie. Indian pie? Do you think they're going to start shilling out and catering and doing and follow their way of living just to? I don't know. It's just something I thought about, right? I mean, we seen it how they wanted to try to get the Chinese market. I wonder if it's going to be the same when they try to get the Indian market. Think about it, guys. Just think about that, okay? But anyways, the whole situation with Disney, it's been nuts. It's everything that they're losing money on one side and they're trying to make money with this and this ain't working and they have exclusive rights. And it got me going thinking even deeper, right? We're going to put your tinfoil hat on here, guys. Like, how do you guys feel about, all these corporations owning all this stuff? Because with ABC, with not ABC, Disney having ABC and ESPN, that sucks. It really does suck. 'Cause I remember back in the day, years ago, where when I was a big time UFC fan, I can order the UFC pay per view from the PlayStation Plus and get it at a slight discount and just watch it over the PlayStation on their live event media viewer. And I thought that was great because as long as I have my PlayStation hooked up, cool, hook it up, done, and get a slight discount. And we could watch it. We could watch the UFC fights. It was great. Oh, Rick, why don't you bootleg? Shut up, man. Shut up. You want to go to some iffy bootleg sites and whatever and get, British ads on there and then having to put ad blocker in it and have it brought down and have to look for another one. That's on you. Whatever, okay? I don't mind paying the couple of bucks. It's not a couple of bucks, but I don't mind paying the money and then having the service and be able to watch it, okay? But I remember that's how I would be able to watch the UFCs. Just order it through the PlayStation Network, and it was great. And then the whole, Disney buys ABC, which buys ESPN, and now you got to have a subscription for ESPN Plus, so you can have ability just to buy the pay-per-views, and then the price of that goes up. And after a while, I mean, as much as I was a fan of UFC, after a while, it's just like, man, I just cannot keep up with this stuff. I have to have this, have a membership with that, sign up with that, pay this, and then pay this again. And after a while, I was like, you know what? I just don't find it worth it to have a subscription. Now I'll just have one of my friends, if one of my friends have it, then sure, I'll watch it over there or hear about it the next day. But I haven't really seen a UFC pay-per-view in forever. And that's one of the reasons why. It just got, you have these corporations just buy up everything and you have to buy this with a description of that. And after a while, it's just like, no, I'm done. I'm going to need another water soon, guys. I'm going to chat your ear off. So, yeah, just think about that next time, guys, because, all these just things being the corporations buying channels and having to piecemeal everything, it's just really annoying. And honestly, I really don't watch that much TV. Every once in a while, like I'll watch something on Disney Plus. That's only because one of my wife's friends has a subscription to it and it's on whatever. I mean, I did watch an episode of JoJo's, but my wife has Netflix. I haven't been reading them. Oh, that's also what I've been doing, guys. I've been reading some of the JoJo's manga. I've been having a blast with that. I can hear the voice actors, saying the lines in my head when I read the text bubbles. I've been having a good time with that. Excuse me, guys. Let's go back into let's go away from Disney and shitting on them on the corporations. Let's go into video games, guys. Konami. I'm sure you guys have heard, and I don't know if you are aware, but I am a fan of Metal Gear Solid. What Konami did to Kojima is truly terrible, stupid, wrong. I think greed made them lose sight of what they have. I think Kojima is a genius. I think he's wonderful. I think he's a great storyteller. He's a little eccentric and off the wall and unconventional, but you know what? What that man does is fun, great entertainment. That's why it's kind of sucks with, because I'm glad Kojima's doing his own thing. I'm sure he was tired of Metal Gear Solid. He wants to work on different projects, and that all power to him. And I did enjoy Death Stranding, but Metal Gear will always have a place in my heart. One of my favorite games. I really enjoyed it. And with Konami releasing the Metal Gear Solid collection, first I was excited. And then I was kind of on the fence about it. And then I'm kind of more not excited about it again, but more willing to accept and maybe give it a shot, maybe give it a second look. They did tweet out some, I guess, letting some resolutions for what platforms it'll be on and what frames it'll be playing. So it looks like for Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid. You guys remember that one with the one on Shadow Moses Island? That one, it turns out, it'll probably be playing, or regardless on what console you're playing it on, will be at 30 frames per second, 19 on 1080p for most consoles. The only time it'll be on 720 will be on Switch for handheld mode, but you know what? It sucks they couldn't bring it up to 60, but it is what it is. I mean, take it or leave it, right? But Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, they will be running at 60 frames per second on 1080p, but on Switch handheld, it will be at 30 frames at 720. So in handheld mode. So, take it as it is. Of course, the Switch, very underpowered compared to the current gen consoles and the previous gen consoles, but it's still a way to play it. But still, I feel like I'm not really sold on it. I was maybe, and maybe I kind of have to like curb my expectations, right? Maybe I just kind of look, at least you're playing it at 60 frames. It might have me pick it up. I think it's priced at $59.99, so it's not like it's the worst price ever. I mean, maybe it's a little high. Maybe it should have been priced at around $40, maybe $50, but $40 probably been a really good deal. You're getting 3 solid games, really great games. These are some of the games where especially when I was young, I felt like, yo, Metal Gear Solid 1, this is a movie. This isn't just a game. This is a movie. Yes, it's a PS1 games. PS1 games have not aged the best when you go back and look at them, but graphics aside, right? Because if you look at it, Snake doesn't have eyes. He just has little shaders that come out that cover his face. You never see eyeballs. The only time you see any facial expressions is the conversations going over the codex, right? But graphics aside, the way Metal Gear Solid delivered, the way Kojima and his team were able to have the action rolling, and it really felt like a movie. I really felt like the voice acting was phenomenal, was great. Of course, the story, wonderful. I mean, if you guys never had the chance, the pleasure to experience Metal Gear Solid, I would say do yourselves a favor and look at it. Yes, the graphics are aged. They are PS1, but graphics are nothing, guys. Graphics are just a bonus. They really are. It's all gameplay is king, hands down, or queen, depending on who you ask. But it's something I feel like if you haven't never had the ability, the chance to experience these games, I would definitely say yes. This is peak Kojima. I mean, and honestly, Metal Gear Solid 3, that's wonderful. I remember so many good times with it. The characters were off the wall, unique in every way. The story was good. The challenges, it was something, man. I mean, when you start having conversations of some of the greatest franchises around, for me, this is going to come up hands down, because I really do feel like these are, games are all built on top of each other. And I think these are very fundamental and a basis to a lot of other games, because the way that the story works, the writing works, the gameplay, everything, these little weird things that Kojima did, I think you could find some of this stuff, and he got a lot of inspiration from different movies to make this game, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people got inspiration to make their games off of this. And I really would say, guys, if you never played these games, give it a shot. Put it on your radar at least. If it goes on sale, I would say auto pickup. But yeah, we got some information on that. Like, again, I was excited at first, and then I was kind of so now I'm more willing to pick it up. But then it's kind of one of those things where I picked up the Mass Effect Legacy Edition, and then I went back and played it, and I was like, ooh. Of course, Metal Gear. Of course, Mass Effect 1 was never my favorite game, so I might have to go back and just skip that one altogether and just go straight to 2. We'll see how it goes with Metal Gear. Let me see. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Mr. Naoki Hamaguchi, which is now he is now the director. He was a co-director with Tetsuya Nomura, but Tetsuya Nomura has stepped aside, and I think Mr. Hamaguchi will be taking over now. And he's been with Square Enix for a long time. I think they got a new president, but we'll talk about that later. But anyways, guys, yeah, he quoted saying that it will be the world is created in a 1-to-1 scale, and it will be one seamless map, which got me excited for, because as much as I enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Remake, being all at Midgar, and I'm not mad about all being in Midgar, but it was kind of sectioned off. You only got to experience a fraction of the game, which, got me cautious about the upcoming titles, the rest in the trilogy, because how, if they focus so much time on Midgar, how are they going to be able to do the rest of the game and stuff like that, they really, at some points Midgar just felt a little bloated, the stuff you had to do with it. I mean, and it wasn't like it was terrible, it just felt like what I played before in the OG versions. I felt like, oh man, okay, this part is a lot longer now than it was in the other ones, where this are probably in the OG version, you kind of just breeze through this part. This one, it's a whole freaking chapter. You're spending some time in there. But going into the rest of the trilogy, I was kind of concerned, like, how are they gonna make this? If they made Midgard this big, how are they gonna do stuff like, when you get to Calm, a small town, or Junon, or Course of the Soul, or Coral Reactor, or the reactor in Coral City, and the Golden Saucer and stuff like that. And apparently, this one's gonna take place all the way to the Forgotten Capital. I mentioned that in the last episode, guys. But the world being this big and seeing everything, I am kind of, it got me excited again for this series. It got me really want to play again. I'm gonna see what they want to do with it. It looked good. It looked great. I know I talked about it in the previous episode, but man, the direction, excuse me, guys, the direction they're going now, I hope it pays off. I hope as well, because honestly, a lot of people probably had the same concern too, because also was that Final Fantasy VII Remake, there was so many years that it was talked about and being developed, and it finally came out, and people were probably thinking, myself included, were, okay, they got most of the assets done, they got everything is in the engine done, now hopefully from this game to the next one won't take so long. They'll have something ready to go in a couple, relatively, maybe 1, maybe 2 years. But we're approaching almost 4 years later when we get the second game. And I think I remember seeing some parts where they are more comfortable. They got more things worked out. So maybe there won't be that much of a gap when the third part comes out. I'm guessing there's going to be a third part. But, having that much time apart from 2 different games, I hope it pays off. I hope it was worth it. And I think it will. Just from what I've seen, the very little that I have seen, I do hope it pays off and it'll be well worth it. I mean, just I want to see these locations in like a modern day, in a modern day, with the modern day visuals, I mean, there's a certain charm and appeal of just seeing the little chibi, avatars walking around the world map, they're oversized and as they walk around and stuff like that, and they only actually look appropriately human sized when actually in battle. But there's a certain charm in that, because there's limitations that you had with the PlayStation 1, understandably so, right? With the power of the current consoles and generation that we're in, I really hope I'm just ready to get blown away. I'm excited for it. And I know I kind of had, depending on what day you asked me on, when you asked me about Final Fantasy VII Remake, I might have a different opinion. But looking at what they're doing with the Rebirth, I feel like it's going in the right place, just from what I see. And I just hope, even though the story's kind of weird, I could maybe let it go. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I kind of want to go play the first game, just so I could get reacquainted with the mechanics, the gameplay, and maybe think about the story, because I don't know what direction they're gonna go with. Obviously, there's some changes if you played the first one. And again, I'm not the same person I was 4 years ago when I was playing it. Maybe if I play it now, maybe I have a different approach or appreciation when it comes to it. So we'll see. I do want to play it again, and then we'll take it from there. But Final Fantasy VII, guys. Again, I said this. 1,000 times. If you ever have a chance to play it, the OG version, if you have a Nintendo Switch, I would say play it on that platform. It's really good. Enjoy it. I mean, okay, it has really good quality of life features. You have to remember the game is from 1997. A lot of you guys were probably even born then. Okay, so you have to remember the graphics then were a lot different to what we have now. Okay, so again, gameplay is king or queen, not the graphics, the gameplay. The gameplay, that's where it matters. I saw some unfortunate news, but at the same time, it didn't surprise me. It looks like Immortals of Avium's poor sales lead to almost half of the staff getting laid off. And that's unfortunate. I'm never happy to see people losing work, especially in this. I'm not part of the industry. I just like to talk about it. It's just a hobby of mine of playing video games. But you don't ever want to see anybody get fired or laid off or whatever. It's just unfortunate. But this game, I mean, just looking at it right out the gate, I saw it and I was like, you're just a first-person shooter with magic bolts, and yeah, it looks kind of pretty when the particle effects go off and everything. But other than that, though, like, what are you doing that's unique in any way? It felt like everything they did was like safe first-person shooter, where you probably have diverse crowd that checks all the boxes and stuff like that, and probably a run-of-the-mill story. But the gameplay was mediocre at best. I don't know. Even some of the performances I saw on there when it came to the PC side looked like they were lacking. But it doesn't mean I want to see people get laid off. No, of course not. And it sucks. But at the same time, it's like this game, as I don't know what their budget was. Obviously, it didn't do well because now they're having to deal with this stuff. I mean, yes, I do talk about doing things that are, what was it? Herman Melville? I'd rather fail in originality than succeed in imitation. And I think this game just did a bad job at trying to imitate anything. It felt like it was just a run of the mill, and at the end of the day, I don't know. It didn't work. It didn't pay off. I saw this game. I wrote it off. I don't know. Is anybody playing it? I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. There could be some games where they maybe had a rough launch. It wasn't that great. I mean, I've with Street Fighter 5, that I was in the same boat, but I don't know. You guys ever have a game like that comes out and you're like, man, I know it's kind of rough. Nobody's really playing it, but I really like it. If there is, let me know. I'm interested because maybe this game will get us some sort of. Let's not kid ourselves. This game's going nowhere. Let's talk about. Oh, can we talk about the what happened? The big news of what happened this week, guys. We had some documents being leaked from the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, from Microsoft, trying to wrap up the whole Activision Blizzard merger deal. So apparently these documents were leaked. Things were not redacted, so we're able to get a lot of stuff from it. And before we go into that, I want to lead that with, I think someone asked Phil Spencer about the pricing for Xbox Game Pass, which a lot of people say great value. I don't think it is. Me personally, I don't think it's a great value. I think you're just paying to play mediocre games. None of these games on there are great. And I'm more of the mindset of I'd rather pay $60, $70 for a awesome, legit, complete game that works right out of the box than play something and pay $15 a month for something that, how many times have you gone through Netflix and you stream through stuff and you're like, man, everything here, I don't sucks. That's how I feel with Game Pass. I look at all these games like, this might be cool, but I don't think it's worth it. I don't want to sit here and download it and wait and then not play it and then just waste my like it's not even worth the bandwidth on some of these games. So I don't know. Am I wrong? There's some gems out there, guys? Maybe there's some couple of gems, right? Let me know. But saying the game price hike is inevitable, which if you think about it, Microsoft, big company, they need more money. They need to make up for all the money they spent on picking up all these studios and picking up Activision Blizzard. Well, how can we make more money? Well, let's just pick up the price on Game Pass. We'll tell them it's a good value. We'll tell them that, you know, you're in the ecosystem. You have access to all these cloud gaming and all this stuff when you can play the games. And it's a good value. They'll tell you it's a good value, guys. They'll tell you it's a good value. But what are you getting? What are you getting? A crappy Halo game? Starfield? Maybe you get Starfield, right? Just think about it, guys. Please think about it. So I was looking at Wired.com. They're not my favorites, but you know, sometimes I could go on their website and not get bombarded with ads or have to accept cookies or have it blocked off. So because I have access to it on my internet, on my browser, I went with Wired.com, and they had a lot of information. Now, guys, there is a lot of other stuff that that I missed during these leaks. So feel free to look up on your own and find out what you want to, you know, and see what there is out there, because I'm going to pass up a lot of stuff. But I just picked out a couple of things that I saw on there that I thought was interesting, and I just want to pass on and give you my take on it. So Microsoft leak from the Federal Trade Commission, FTC. It looked like we're going to have some, and I think this doesn't surprise me, but we'll be having some mid-cycle consoles for the X and S. It looks like the X will have a cylindrical design, so you can't call it Xbox, X cylinder, X round, X tube. I like X-Tube Live. Anyways, the Series X cylinder will not have a disk drive. No disk drive, according to these leaks. How do you guys feel about that? No more physical games. Now, at first I was thinking, what? Physical games? I can't share games? I can't grab one physical copy and be like, hey, wife, you want to play this game? Here's a copy. Play it. And then I started thinking about it, right? I started thinking about it. Rick, when's the last time you actually bought a physical copy of a game? Final Fantasy 16 in June. Okay. What else did we physically buy? I bought Elden Ring last year when it went on discount. Okay. What else did we buy? Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I bought that one for the wifey. On the Nintendo side, I think we're okay buying cartridges. I think for right now, the option to buy cartridges for the console, we seem like we're in a good spot. It'll be readily available, because like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this podcast, I do want to pick up a physical copy of Blasphemous 2. It is more expensive, but I want a physical copy. I don't know why. Maybe I want the tactile feel. I really want to hold it. I don't know. I want it to be available when I want to play it. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe something happens where I can't download something, or they take away the licensing, or it's no. I don't know. It could be who knows what happened in the future, right? But to have a physical copy of the game, put it in your console and play it. At least when it comes to Nintendo, I'm all for. Now, I gotta have an honest conversation with myself, guys, and I want to share it with you guys, because at first, you know, I am about game preservation. I think that is important, but at the same time, when it comes to the current generation that we are in games, I'm not buying that many physical copies. I'm being 100% with you guys. I'll buy it if it's on the PlayStation 5 side of things. On the PlayStation side, I will buy a physical copy, because I know I am a lot more limited on hard drive space for that console. Although I do have some upgrades, but you know, even then, the physical copy of a game, you're literally just putting it in there and it's downloading the stuff, you know. So even then, we gotta have a conversation about that too, right, guys? Like, how much of the game is actually on the physical medium of a disc, right? And then, and I've mentioned this before, guys. My launcher of choice is Steam. I have majority of my library of games are on Steam. I do have some on Epic. I do have some on EA, but it's on Steam. Last time I checked, you don't get a physical copy. when it comes for Steam. So that's a conversation we gotta face, guys, and I think it's gonna be inevitable, and it sucks. Because yes, game preservation is important. I think it is having being at the mercy of these corporations. I think that's gonna be the name of this podcast, right? The corporations or corpo overlords. I mean, who's to say, he signed agreed to the user, the user agreement, license agreement, and in the fine print somewhere, you probably missed a line that says we're just giving you the chance to play this game, not own a copy. You just have a chance to play, and if we choose to bring it down offline for any said reason, we could do so. That's gonna suck. I'm not saying it will happen, but it can happen. All right, guys. Okay, these corporations are not on your side. They're here to make money. That sucks. Also, with the direction that Microsoft has been going, especially with they've been wanting to have the cloud. I think they're integrating things into games into the cloud. I'm a heavy focus there. I think that's another reason why they're going diskless. And look, maybe there's some benefits. There's going to be some benefits to not having diskless, right? I mean, that's a lot less plastic that needs to be handled, tossed out. What's that going to do with the secondhand market, right? To like GameStop and stuff like that, and those little mom and pop stores that trade in actually like physical stuff, like those little DVD stores, CD stores, game stores. Talking about the ones that actually deal like on retro, right? How's that going to deal with those kind of business? That's something to think about. If you're in that kind of business, guys, if you deal with that, please let me know. Or if you're a collector of things, please let me know what your thoughts on this is. Because it feels like that's what the trend's going to be. I think we're starting to see the signs of that transition of just going all digital, of zeros and ones. Again, maybe it's just better. Maybe some of the benefits. I'm trying to see both sides here, guys. I'm trying to look at this objectively. So less plastics for the disc, for the box, less paper for it's one piece of paper that's in there now. We don't get instruction manuals anymore. You remember instruction manuals, guys? We won't have to worry about physically having to haul them, of using the manpower to, move them from one place to the other, of the vehicles used to shipping, the fuel used to shipping, storage and overhead. Now, if not having to deal with that will reflect on the game and lowering the cost, and I know my friend Ruben has talked about that many times, where he brought the point where if I'm buying something digital, maybe they should tack off, $10 off the price. And thinking about it, he's onto something. And I could be more inclined to welcome that change if I got more of a monetary incentive to go that way, right? But still, you got to remember, guys, how many times, in games now, when you start it up, do you agree to this user agreement? If you want to play the game, you better say yes, because if not, you're not going to play the game. I mean, we've all been there, right? The modern day gamer has to deal with that. We've seen it. Even some games that are just single player, you still have to sign up for that stuff when you want to play, things online, on multiplayer, online, whatever, right? So I think the writing's on the wall, guys. I think we're starting to head in that direction, and I kind of just have to accept that. As much as I've been kind of holding out, I did have to think about this and reflect. I'm like, yeah, Rick, when's the last time you bought physical? A couple of things on the PlayStation 5, the Nintendo. But other than that, though, I mean, you got PCs, you got gaming PCs. Look at the background, guys. I got gaming PCs. What am I putting on? Ones and zeros, putting on a hard drive. What else, guys? Going back to the leaks, new controller. This is what I'm kind of most excited for when it comes to the leaks that I thought was cool, because I'm sure you guys know, I mean, I carry Xbox Series 1 controller. It's my go-to pad. I love it. I did mess up the little USB mini port, so I had to play it Bluetooth, but it still works, And I got to use AA batteries, which we'll talk about that. If you guys look in the background, you can see a little white controller and a red-white controller. So I do like the Xbox controllers. I do like these. I play them hardline when I can, but this one, I don't want to throw it out because the Bluetooth still works on it, and I don't want to just throw this away just because because the USB Mini doesn't work. It's still a perfectly good controller. I don't want to cause e-waste, But this thing and all of them have AA batteries, which I think that is archaic. I think that needs to go. I think that is something of the past. Yes, I'm sure it does suck when the battery pack on one of your $70 controller dies and you have to hardline it, and that's the only way to play it. Yes, if that's the only way to play it, I get it. That does suck because it's integrated into the controller. But looking at these new controllers, let me read about what I wrote down, guys. So, new controller, codename Sybil. Quote, air quotes, direct to cloud connection, a rechargeable / swappable battery, which I think that's important, guys. I think I like that. We can recharge it and we could swappable, not constantly have to get double A's and replace them and find another one. That is just something that should have been left way back. They say they're gonna have precision haptic feedback, which isn't that on the Pro controller, on the Nintendo Pro controller? If it is, it's kind of like, it's just like, you mean haptic feedback as in like it has like awesome rumble, or does it mean like it has like built-in gyroscopes? I think it said that. Maybe it means built-in gyroscopes. I think, or I heard someone mention that. The built-in gyroscopes, okay, cool. Depending on what game you use it on, it could be. I know Nintendo likes to incorporate in some of their games, but that part I could leave it. And then it'll say they'll have quiet buttons and thumbsticks, which I'm all for. Again, the Xbox One controller, I do like it. It's this one I broke it in, but it's a lot more quieter compared to the Xbox Series X and S controllers that I have over there. They are loud, like annoyingly loud, which at the same, it's like Rick, you have a mechanical keyboard that goes click. Like, yeah, I know, right? And you play on your freaking arcade sticks when you play fighting games, and that goes clicky clack. Yeah, well, these are the Xbox Series X and S controllers. Those are loud, okay? Like annoyingly loud. Like you hear it on stream loud, okay? So I'm more excited about the controllers from these leaks. I thought that was awesome, but again, we'll see when they come out. It still has a while. What else? Microsoft possible. I think it's possible. It is possible. Not I. Microsoft possible in 2028 will be the next generation, and it'll be a hybrid of a game platform that will use the cloud. So I think that's kind of the direction they're going with. I think they're trying to introduce us and get us used to the fact, like with the Xbox Series X Pro version that's gonna be coming out, the Xbox Series X cylinder X, whatever's coming out, X2 that's coming out, with not having a disc, we're gonna have to get used to just. That's how they're gonna value. That's how they're gonna add more value. It just dawned on me, guys. That's how they're gonna make their Game Pass more value, right? You can't get physical discs. It just dawned on me right now, guys. You can't get physical disc, right? So you buy our Xbox, you sign up for Game Pass, boom, we get you there. Every month you're paying $9, $15, depending on what plan you get. Stupid genius. It's stupid genius. I didn't even think about it until right now, guys. At first I was thinking, yeah, you just have to buy all your games off of Xbox Live. No, that's not it. You don't buy the games. You make them rent them. You make them rent them from you. You make them attached to your ecosystem. And instead of getting $60 once, you're getting them for $10, $15 every month for years. That's what it is. That's what it is, guys. And we'll throw stuff in the cloud too. Yeah, upload. Yeah, it's here, boys and ladies. It's here. At least on the Xbox side. Now, don't be stupid. Don't be dumb. Don't be like me. You think Sony's not going to see this? Like, wait, what? These fools are paying for this stuff? Let's get on it right now. Oh, man. Jesus Christ, guys. Oh, my God. I didn't even think about that. That's how they're going to justify the Game Pass, right? Even old Uncle Phil said that, yeah, the price is going to be going up. And we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Was it last week or the week before? Even the Sony streaming stuff is going to be going up. Their essential premiere and whatever it's called, I don't know what BS they want to market it as. Oh my God, it's here, guys. We're seeing it. We're seeing it. We're seeing it. Anyways, looking at some of these micro stuff, some of these leaked. Well, after looking through the leak documents, I kind of went back and saw some things. You know, we know that Microsoft has been over the years been picking up studios and developers here and there. And, you know, at one point when I had a podcast with Ruben, I did think, you know what, this is going to pay off. They're going to have all these developers in-house and they're going to put out some great games. We have yet to see it, guys. We have yet to see it. And I don't know if anything's going to change with Activision Blizzard. Honestly, I think they're just banking on Call of Duty being freaking selling bananas and being stupid popular as it is and make their money off of that. I think that's going to happen. But at one point, it looks like Microsoft... Oh, no, wait, that's right. During these leaks, they talked about how Microsoft wanted to buy Nintendo. It didn't happen. I'm glad it didn't happen. But then again, it's not that I'm glad it didn't happen. You kind of know it wasn't going to happen. And apparently, looking through this part, I kind of looked in there and a lot of the places were talking about like, this isn't the first time they tried that. I was like, what? So I had to do some more, you know, digging and researching. I'll use that term loosely, guys. But I looked up back in 2000. Yeah. 23 years ago, guys. Yeah. Zoomers. You remember that? You weren't even born then. But back in the year 2000, guys, year 2000, Microsoft tried buying Nintendo, and apparently, looking at some of the stuff, they got laughed out of the room. I wish I was a fly on the water in that meeting just to see. I wish I was just like the pitcher of water and just to see what's going on, and just wish I could just seen that and see the look on their faces, whether them getting laughed at and the guys doing the laughing. But apparently Microsoft wanted to try to buy Nintendo again. And at a certain point, you have to start thinking, what's going through the mindset of Microsoft that they think they could buy Nintendo? Like think of the mindset that these guys have, guys. The mindset is, we're going to use money to buy things to make it good. We're going to use money to buy things, not use the money to make our teams great and better and make them and hold them accountable to make good quality products. No, it's what can we buy? What can we buy and hope that it'll work out? And I really do feel, and I really wanted Microsoft to be a winner in this generation when it comes to the consoles, because I really wanted them to do more competition, more to, you know, put Sony's feet to the fire when it comes to stuff. I really wanted them to, you know, have a banger year, a banger generation, but it looks like it's not. And now you're starting to see it, right? The whole approach of Microsoft. I know I sound like I'm super anti-Microsoft, but guys, I'm like anti all of them, guys. I'm anti all the big guys. Believe you me. They got some gems across all of them. They have some gems that I do appreciate, but in the end of the day, though, they're not looking out for you. Okay, they're not. They are looking out for their shareholders. Okay, they're looking out for the bottom line, the bottom number. That's what they're looking out for. But you start thinking, they just want to use money. They think they can use money just to get everything. Like, how far do you think that's gonna work? How's that gonna like really work? And honestly, how's that been working? Because I think they need to have a really hard conversation with themselves and realize, like, guys, whatever y'all think I've been doing, it's not working at all. Maybe Starfield had some success, and even then, I don't know. I feels like it's been what, 2 weeks, a week and a half, 2 weeks. It feels like all that has died down. No one's talking about it. It's done. It came out when it first came out, and I saw some positive things. I saw some negative things. Take it as you will. But the way Microsoft is approaching, I think they're in the wrong. They're looking at it in the wrong way. They need to do something different, because right now, trying to use money to buy things, not working out, and it just looks terrible. But again, they tried buying Nintendo. It's like, You really think the Nintendo board holders, and honestly, one of my favorite people at Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto, the freaking father of Mario. Like this man, one of the greatest quotes, and I've said this before, guys. I've quoted him before, where a delayed game is eventually good. A rush game is forever bad. I mean, that he quoted that. I'm probably saying it a little bit wrong, but that's the mindset they have. They're gonna do it right, and not every game that Nintendo comes out is right and great and perfect, But Nintendo is so iconic. It's such its own thing. Like, do you really think they need they need your money? They're in bed with freaking with Game Freak, aka Pokemon, the biggest franchise in the world, if not one of the biggest, maybe the biggest franchise in the world. You really think? And Microsoft has a lot of money. We know that. We do. But you think at a certain point, like, the money, baby, the money. They think it's all about the Benjis. It is not. But yeah, there was some other stuff that got leaked throughout the whole. The Microsoft leak, and some other things that I might have missed. But yeah, let me know, guys. Is there anything that you saw in there that you want to talk about or thought it was interesting that I might have like missed over? But honestly, throughout the whole leaks, I was surprised. They're kind of surprised, not surprised that they're going to start heading in the whole no disk drive with their consoles. And but honestly, the one thing that looks honestly like cool to me is like the new controller. New controller looks pretty cool. I'm in it. Sounds cool. I would pick one up. Anyways, guys, let's talk about I know this has been a long episode. We got a little bit more, guys. Just bear with me. I'm trying to make this like the one last episode we need for this month, and that way we could put an end and not and we'll make, instead of having a short one next week, we'll just have a super long one now. You guys watch it later. And again, guys, I do have some podcasts with friends coming out pretty soon that's already done, mixed and everything. I just have it loaded. I just got to put it in when the next month rolls around, and you guys will be listening on to that, okay? Let's talk about Tokyo Game Show 2023. A lot. It happened in Japan, guys, over the weekend. Of course, with the time difference being literally night and day, I didn't watch any of it live. I just watched some things. I kind of looked at some of the reveals that I just YouTubed and saw some things there, things that I was interested in. I'm sure there was lots of stuff, right? But I just kind of went through and picked the things that I was interested in, and I just want to share that with you guys. So again, if there is something that you saw that I'm not going to be talking about, please bring it up, and I would like to have a discussion and see y'all's point of view on that. So let's get started with it, guys. So Tokyo Game Show, the first thing I saw on there that I was interested in was from Sega, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, coming out in January 2024. Watching the trailer for that game, guys, it made me smile. I think what they're doing with this game is going to be freaking bananas. And I mean that in the most Like a Dragon way, because that game was something else. It was a turn-based RPG, and I loved it for it, right? Because Ichi and his friends, first of all, Ichi, great character. Totally loved his character. Loved it. I loved him. He was so cool, so awesome. He had this over the top, super imaginative view of things. So when you're playing the game, it looks like, it's something you have to see, but it looks silly. But when you get in there, it makes sense, right? And I think we're going to get, from what I see in this trailer, we're going to get a lot of that plus some. I mean, they're really going to go, what we're seeing, you got the pound mates, which are your summons. You have your group attacks. You're going to be playing as Kiryu. I think that's the main protagonist from the other Yakuza series. And that's another thing, guys, that they're doing with this game is they're going away from the Yakuza name and going into Like a Dragon. I think it was Judgment for the other type of games, and I forgot the name for whatever. But apparently it's going to be 3 different branches that are all in the same universe and loosely tied in together. But yeah, you'll be able to play as the main protagonist, or the main protagonist from the Yakuza games will be a party member in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. So, and just like Like a Dragon had lots of mini games. I know some of y'all played the real estate game, and then of course they had a whole bunch of they had a bunch of other mini games inside, like actual like Sega arcade games in the game, and of course a whole bunch of side missions and everything. But it looks like they're really gonna have a lot of stuff like that in this next one. Looking at the story, I saw the cinematic reveal trailer, which I saw a couple of. It was a couple of minutes, but I saw just a little bit of it and kind of fast forward through because like again, the cinematic trailers are cool, but that's not what I'm here for. I'll say that when I get to experience the game. But some of the gameplay trailers, from what they're able to do, you get some special abilities. You're playing the mini games. You're hanging out with your friends. You're working on bonds, like bonds with your friends and stuff like that. There's gonna be some returning cast, new characters. It genuinely made me smile. I was happy to see it. I was excited. I want to play it. I had such a good time. This will probably be 100%. I won't say probably. This will be a day one pickup for me. The only thing I'm cautious for is I just want this game to come out in a good piece, in a good state, not good piece, in a good state. Okay, I want it. I mean, we saw it so many times with 2023 where these games just come out unoptimized. When I did play the Like a Dragon the first time, I bought it when it was on discount. It was already out for a couple of months. So, I mean, and when I had it, I don't think I had any issues with the game. I mean, the only thing that kind of annoyed me sometimes was in true JRPG fashion, if you don't save a lot, you will probably die somewhere after grinding some stuff and you got to go back and replay it. That happened to me once. I think I had like an hour and 45 minutes worth of progression. I ended up in a place that was a lot higher level than I was, and I got murked and I had to do all that stuff all over again, and all the grind and the levels I did. That sucked. But that's on me though. That's my fault. That's not the game's fault. It's not the game's fault, It's my fault. I played JRPGs before. I should be saving. Just make it a habit of saving every 10 minutes. Just, you're about to do something, save. You just finish something, save. You just finish having a dialogue with someone, save. That was my fault, But other than that though, I had no issues with the game with stutters or bugs or game breaking bugs or anything like that. Not at least that none I can remember. And it's been a while since I played the game, so we'll see. But yeah, I remember having such a really good time with it. I knew this game they already announced. I forgot, when did they announce it? The announcement, I think it was back in the summer, I believe maybe one of the showcases or something, or Summer Game Fest maybe. But yeah, knowing that this game is coming out and it has a release date in January. My Mexican's coming out in January. I'm so excited. I'll be picking it up, and January is gonna be a busy month for me, at least when it comes to games, because it will have Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. We're going to have Tekken 8 coming out. And on the same day as Tekken 8, we'll be having Unist coming out. Well, Unist Sis Celeste. Under Night in Birth Sis Celeste. The sequel to Underbirth. Oh my God. The names are so weird. But anyways, Unist, we'll call it Unist or Uniclear, the latest iteration of it. It is a anime style fighting game that's still, a lot of people have described it as American anime, where you're still bouncing around and jumping, but it's not as crazy as some of the other ones. So it's a great game, guys. When I was playing that game, I had such a good time. I would play as Waldstein. And I really feel some of the mechanics were there was a lot of mechanics, and it kind of got a little confusing at times on when to activate it. But I remember actually playing it and having I would have a hard time trying to describe you the mechanics now, guys, because it's been such a long time since I played it. But I remember that when I was playing that game, thinking this game is the truth. This is a really good, fleshed out, solid fighting game with the mechanics and the characters and the way it played. I had a good time with it. It didn't feel like something was stupid overpowered or something was cheap. Some characters, depending on how well you can execute, you probably did really well. But that's because you had to put in the time and effort to be really, really good with that character. And you can't get mad at someone being good at a game, right? You can't. Another thing that game had for it, and I'm 100% sure that I'm 100% that this game will have, is the tutorial system, the training system. They did a really good job of breaking things down, having trials for the characters, showing you how it works, explaining everything. And I really feel that that's a direction that a lot of fighting games need to be taking. Instead of making everything simple and modern for everybody and dumbing it down, you should have a very solid tutorial system that breaks down the games and lets you know this is how you play, this is how you get around things, this is how you learn, this is situations and scenarios you will be with your character and how to get around it. And I thought that was unique. I think that was awesome because I would play Waldstein and he's a grappler. I don't play grapplers, but it puts you in some spots like this is what you need to do when this happens to get out of it. And I loved it. I think it was great. And yes, I am talking about Street Fighter. I think at a certain point you got to ask yourself, maybe this game just isn't meant for you. Maybe you shouldn't be playing it. You know, having to rely on these auto combos and modern controls and stuff like that. I think I'm mostly just not upset about it. I really feel like modern controls, they do have a place, but not in Street Fighter. That's my opinion. I think Street Fighter should stick with what it has. It should really focus more on mechanics, trying to make it for everybody. That's just my opinion. If you don't like it, at me, we could have a discussion about it. But Eunice Celeste will be having 24 characters, new moves, new mechanics. They said responsive input, which got me thinking. I don't know what that means, but I wonder if it's something similar to what Capcom did with Street Fighter 6 and have a toggle switch in the menu system to reduce input delay. So I don't know if maybe that's going to be available. I don't know. We'll see closer as it gets revealed. And they also said they will be having a rollback netcode, which is needed, important. That was my issue with the other game. It became the netcode was not really good at all. And maybe you could play some matches, but at a certain point when these games are no longer playable online, they become what we call Discord games, where you gotta follow a Discord community to get some matches going. And honestly, that's not for me. I don't feel like I need to go online on Discord and have to chit chat with a whole bunch of people just to find a game. Like if I want to play a game, I want to go in there, load it up, start matchmaking, and get into a match like that. That's what I should be able to do. I shouldn't have to go find out like, hey, does anybody want to play some matches today? I'm over here in Gulf Coast, Texas. Oh, I got a X amount of ping. Anybody interested in playing? You know, no, I don't want to do that. Them having rollback, I think they learned their lesson. I mean, of course, this happened, you know, ever since COVID. All the new developers for fighting games know that you gotta have this now. I mean, and having a robust online is just as important, if not more important, than having an offline event, because online events are happening, and that's great. But you know, I still prefer the offline. But you gotta play on. You gotta be able to play online. You can't always go to your locals to play with folks. It is. And we have busy lives. Sometimes, you know, it's Tuesday. I get home late. I want to play some matches. I don't feel like I have to drive to downtown Houston to Neil's Bar to play some matches. That might happen once a month, maybe on a Tuesday. No, I just want to play some matches online. But getting rollback netcode is the way to go. Now, I did see some people say on our fighters, mind you, this is Reddit. It's not a real place. So take it with the biggest grain of salt. Take this whole podcast with a grain of salt, okay, boys and girls. But you know, people are talking about, oh, it's coming out the same day as Tekken 8. It's terrible. Like, is it really? You don't think someone who likes fighting games is gonna be like, oh shit, Tekken and you just coming out? Yeah, I'll pick one up, and then a week later I'll pick up the other one. I think they're gonna be fine. I think these games will be in a good spot. Honestly, if I was the developer, I'd be like, yeah, let's put it like maybe a month away or something. But them coming out the same day is mostly weird. I think it's mostly weird. I think they both decided to pick that same day. But you know what? I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's gonna say it's like, oh, this game's dead in the water. No one's gonna buy it. No. I have friends who play fighting games. Okay. Or I know people who play fighting games and I made friends of them. And those people that have that mindset of loving fighting games, I mean, you got fighting games. It's very niche, guys. It's very niche. It's something. When you love it, you love it. When I talk to my friends that are also fighting game players, they love fighting games, whether it's Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken, Unist, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, whatever. If there's a fighting game, they're gonna play it. They're gonna love it. And I think that's the mindset that a lot of people have when you play fighting, when you just love fighting games, because no matter what it is, you just want to play the competition, the execution, learning new character, especially when it comes out. If you play King of Fighters, it's just it coming out on the same day as Tekken. I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't. I think it'll be fine. I think they're gonna have their player base. The player base is like a Venn diagram. They all overlap. They love everything. It falls over. I mean, except for like Smash players. I mean, they're Smash players. They're their own. God bless them. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm excited for it. Same day. Unist and freaking Tekken. On Tokyo Game Show, continuing on the Capcom side, and this only we'll talk about Capcom, guys, and then we're gonna wrap it up, okay, guys? I promise. Capcom, Dragon's Dogma 2. I never played the first one. I knew it exists. It looks like this game, it's kind of Capcom's take on the fantasy genre, I want to say maybe like the high fantasy genre. You see griffins and monsters and goblins, or is that just fantasy? When does it become high fantasy, guys? Can you guys help me out with that? Let me know. When does it become fantasy to high fantasy? I know dark fantasy, right? I mean, that's freaking Warhammer. I mean, it's just dark and grim and dirty, and then life is a mess. And we know dark. We know dark fantasy, all right? This is not it. I think it's just more fantasy, maybe high fantasy. I don't know, but you play as a character. You have your different classes, then you have your your subclasses and everything, and you have like these AI pawns that join your party, and it looks like you just go out on an adventure and do some things. I don't know what the story's about. I don't know exactly what it is, but looking at the gameplay, it did look pretty fun. And Capcom, even with some of their faults and how they handle, I'm sure if you guys go into my stream and watch me play Street Fighter, I do say some things on how Capcom handles the monetization of Street Fighter. But when it comes to some of their games, like when you play a Monster Hunter and Street Fighter and Resident Evil, when it comes to their games, they have some fun games. And that's what I'm kind of hoping Dragon's Dogma 2 is. There's something, I never played the first one. I see this. I want to see how Capcom does their shake at this genre. And kind of, is it open world? I don't know if it's open world, guys. We'll see. But just looking at it, it looked fun. It looked cool. I want to play with it. And I know I said this before with like Monster Hunter Rise, where it's like, I want to play something but not be reliable on other people. And in the end, I kind of when I played the game, I realized people get in there, you do the mission, kill the monster, and done. You really don't have to associate with them at all. You just do the stuff. You communicate with emotes and shit. I'm kind of hoping Dragon Dogma maybe kind of that, not in that similar way, because I know you're playing with AI pawns, but I kind of just want to go in there, play some things, and see how it is. And because I feel like I'm getting some like Monster Hunter vibes. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to say how I really feel about it, but it's something that is on my horizon. I do want to play. I'm excited for. I didn't think I saw a release date, but it looks like it'll be all on current gen. So PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. So Nintendo guys, I'm sorry. PlayStation 4 guys, I'm sorry. I mean, it's 2023. What can we tell you? Get with the show. Resident Evil 4, we have some DLC. You get to play as the very lovely Ada Wong, called Separate Ways. Apparently they talked about Resident Evil 4 has already sold 5 million copies. I love the game. It's a great game. It's on my probably it's on my contender for game of the year for this year. I go back to it every once in a while and play a couple of chapters here and there. It's really fun. It's really cool. I love Leon. I can see why people love Leon. Ada though, and I did notice this. I did notice this was the voice actress for Ada was very lackluster. And hearing some of her lines in this one felt like she had the same energy and gusto as. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't play it because her voice actor is garbage. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is maybe I'll kind of wait on this one. I mean, it will give me a reason to go back and play the game. But I'm no. I don't know. I'm kind of iffy. I'm on the fence. We'll see. Like I kind of do want to play, have another reason to play, but then we'll see. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Monster Hunter Rise. It's in March 2024. It will be reaching its 20-year anniversary, and they said they will continue to have updates to Monster Hunter Rise, whether it's monsters and weapons. So the game's still getting support, which is cool. I was really on the fence about Monster Hunter Rise, guys, but I ended up enjoying it. And same came when it came to the DLC Sunbreak. I was hesitant at first. I was like, man, it's very pricey. But then, me and my wife were playing, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get it. I'm just gonna get the DLC. We're both having a good time. We're at the near end game of the vanilla game, and we kind of want to see some more stuff. And you know what? We're glad we did, because that DLC, as pricey as it is, gave you a lot of stuff, a whole new list of moves, of course, armors, new weapons, new locations, a lot of things to craft. It was actually done really well. As pricey as it was expensive. We got to address that, guys. But you did get a lot of content out of it, and I think it was worth it. And the direction they've been going with this Monster Hunter Rise, I know a lot of people say, some of the diehard fans will say they prefer Monster Hunter World. To each their own. It is what it is. I did play it. It wasn't for me at the time, but Monster Hunter Rise, it is clicking with me. I've been having a blast, and like I said, I went back earlier this weekend and played some. So I'm glad to know that the game is still getting support, still getting stuff, because it is a fun game, guys, and I would recommend it. It's unique, and I think they do it in a really positive way. I think they do it good. They also talked about Exo Primal. Guys, I knew they were coming out with it, but I forgot it got released. I mean, I totally forgot about it. I really did. It feels like it's like Monster Hunter Horde mode, because all you're fighting is like you and your party. You get this awesome decked out super tech gear and weapons, and then you go kill hordes of dinosaurs. And I was like, and honestly, it came out, and all I remember, like, oh, they're gonna have a collab event with Street Fighter, okay, where you'll get some skins of Chun-Li, Guile, and Ryu, and then they're gonna have one with a crossover with Monster Hunter. I was like, okay, and then you buy their pass, and their DLC looks like emotes and dances, like. Oh, I think this one Exo Prime. I think I'm completely out on this one, guys. Anyway, so Street Fighter 6. I think they all talked about they're gonna have Aki's coming out. They're gonna have a Legend rank coming out in November. A Halloween pass. Again, I love Street Fighter, but the way Capcom monetizes it, I'm just like, oh my god, can we just focus on the game? Can we just focus on making things right and balancing? And I think that's a discussion to have for another day, guys, because I am running out of time. We're at an hour and a half. But yeah, the rest of the stuff, we'll just save it for another day, guys. I got a lot. Guys, I know this was a super long episode. I want to say thank you very much for hanging out and listening. I talked about a whole bunch of things. You guys are great. I know the schedule for the podcast gets kind of crazy. Sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm off, but I'm trying to make it kind of stable. So, guys, again, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for listening, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or whatever platform of your choice. I want to say thank you very much. If you want to help out the channel, guys, the best way to do is go tell your friends about it. Okay? I really appreciate it. Have a good time. Take care of yourselves. Eat good food. Go exercise, drink plenty of water, play some games, have fun, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, guys. I love you. Bye.